I've been playing story games for more than 15 years, but recently I have seen something really different from before. The story games right now just do not feel good enough. Even though in recent times there's been multiple games coming out, it still feels empty and the sense of fulfillment is just not there. Many might say it's the nostalgia which you are getting thinking about your past, but it's just not that. I've been thinking about this recently and there are things which I think makes the most amount of sense. So guys, this is FOZSYL and in this video I'm gonna be talking about the downfall of story games. Well, maybe it might not be downfall, but it's something similar. So let's dive right into it. Recently I started playing some older games and watching walkthroughs of them. With those games I connected much better. Personally, I have always been a fan of different movies and shows, so I like games which provide really good narrative experience. Since 2015 I have seen that majority of the game companies have shifted their focus towards online games. I mean, why not, you know? Online games are easy to monetize as it's more justified to put microtransactions in it. Some story games have actually added microtransactions as well, but they are just not well received in the community. You can see what happened with Ubisoft when they released the NFT thing in their games. It's pretty hilarious to think about it. If you don't know about it, you can search on the internet. It's really funny, guys. So back to the point, we are there to enjoy the story and the authenticity of it. We are not there to wear some fancy clothing and using accessories in front of the final boss who we have been waiting for almost 15 hours. It just destroys the authenticity of the game. I'm not saying they should stop adding microtransactions, but they should keep it minimal and themed to the game. Like when the game is, for example, desert themed, don't add some weird thick sweaters and huskies to travel around the map. It just does not feel good. It destroys the experience completely. It's not fun at all, guys. Back to our point. So because of all of this, the companies have to branch out and make online games, because as much as we hate it, it's all about business in the end. Companies want to maximize the revenue and they will do whatever is possible. Companies like even Rockstar Games have been doing this since I don't know how long. I don't remember when GTA 5 was released. It's like a decade, and no one even cares about it anymore. It's pretty easy to understand that Rockstar Games is mostly interested in adding more content to GTA Online because it generates more revenue, that's it. Also, I feel like there's some domino effect as well in the gaming industry, because it can be pretty tempting to make money generating games when others are doing it as well. All the big companies like Ubisoft, EA, etc. have been adding some amount of online elements in their story games. So when the companies are mainly focusing on generating revenue, it can be pretty hard to simultaneously focus on making good stories for video games, because both of the things can come in each other's way, and it's pretty hard to tackle this problem as well. Recently, the only story games which I like were God of War, Resident Evil 8, Hitman 3, or believe it or not, Cyberpunk 2077. Well, if you take away all the bugs it had. It was a really good game, to be honest. I liked the whole story. It was pretty emotional, at some points. They should have just waited a little bit more for that game to come out. RDR 2 is my favorite out of all of them, but I don't think it's that recent anymore. It came like in 2018, it's been like almost 5 years. If I think of good story games before 2017, I couldn't count on my hand. I think 2017 was a time when the gaming industry faced a very big change due to online games like PUBG and Fortnite. And I also personally think those games were really good, but they had a huge impact on story games in my opinion. Alright, so let's move on the next point. A very big part of gaming community has also shifted towards online gaming. Well, not all of them, but the number is significant. Community also plays a very big part in how people perceive the game. If there's two identical games, suppose one has 100 players and other 1000, the game with the higher player count is always gonna be perceived better by players who are just joining the game, newcomers, and also the ones who have been playing the game for a long time. If the player count is really low, they're gonna feel pretty alienated as others are playing different games. It just happens. This is more prominent with online games though. Still, it has a part in story games as well, I believe. Even though this video is about story games, I liked playing Fortnite a lot before, but since the community started shrinking, it sure did have an impact on how I perceived it as well. Now comes nostalgia. I have some varied thoughts on it, by the way. I think nostalgia can be a reason we perceive the games we played in our childhood to be much better, but it can be that the games were actually better, It cannot be coincidence every time. Recently, I played some games which I didn't had the chance to play before. Even now, when I played those games after more than 10 years, and the graphics and gameplay were outdated, I still felt pretty engaged in the story. For example, I played older Assassin's Creed recently, by the way, and I can definitely say the older ones felt much more engaging than the newer ones. Also, the older Need for Speed games, for example, Most Wanted and Carbon, feel much better than newer Need for Speed games. I can give you more examples. Also, this might be pretty controversial, but I liked older GTA games story much better than GTA 5 story, to be honest. I know I'm not saying that GTA 5 story was not that good, but if I think about San Andreas, GTA 4, I think they were in a better spot in my opinion. I actually feel like they downgraded with GTA 5. I don't know, this will be like really controversial, but I feel like GTA 5 is downgraded of GTA San Andreas. There were so many things. You could hit the gym, you could eat, it will affect your fat, muscle, stuff like that. There was so much stuff, which was removed. There were 3 cities, can you imagine? I think I personally like 3 cities much better compared to the one which they have in the forest area, because there's more diversity in a single game and I actually like it, guys. So I don't want to get deflected from the point, but that's the reason why I like older GTA games much better. I know this can be contradicting, but if you tell me now to play the older games which I have already played, I would not enjoy them personally. But maybe the reason is that I already know the story of those games. That's it. It has nothing to do with, if they are old or not. I just feel like I cannot repeat a game again, Same goes for the new games. But in my opinion, I would definitely enjoy older story games if I had the chance, I can survive through the graphics and gameplay which are outdated, but I cannot survive through, trash stories. It's just, really, really annoying. For example, just see the newer Saints Row game. It's so bad. Like, that's embarrassing. I have not played the older ones, Saints Row, but it feels like the older ones are much better. I've seen a lot of cutscenes. And another thing which I wanted to discuss was the story game dialogues. Right now the dialogues don't feel that authentic in my opinion. For example, if you see, just I talked about Saints Row, dialogues are so bad. Like, I don't know, like there's like no emotions. It just feels like they are faking the dialogues. If you see GTA San Andreas, for example, it's a really old game. You see the dialogues in that game, and games like older Assassin's Creed as well. Newer ones, I don't think they have good dialogue, but the older Assassin's Creed games of GTA San Andreas and games at that time, they had so much better dialogues, very, very natural, authentic. The way they talk, the language, it just feels really, really good compared to now what it is. Last point I wanted to talk about was the shift to online games by the companies. I think it does more harm than good in my opinion, because I can give countless examples where the online games worked in the beginning but died in no time. For example, Hyperscape, if you even remember the game, I actually saw a video, some time ago of Hyperscape, and then I realized, oh, damn, there was a game like this, and I actually played that game a lot, for a week, and I completely forgot that game. I didn't even have that game's name in my mind, I completely forgot it. If I didn't see that video, I would completely forget it. That came out of nowhere and went out of nowhere as well, guys. See the recent Battlefield game as well. Before as well, if you see the older Battlefield games, they had story. Now they are just completely focusing on online stuff, that didn't even work. So what's the point of doing all that, making, online games when they're just not gonna work? It just does not matter if online games make more money. The companies still have to make good online games to make money, And with this much saturation in online games, I think it would be much better to stick to making better story games, I feel like making online games, not everyone can do it, guys. Let's be real. EA, Ubisoft, they have all been trying this. They are unable to do it. The only online games which are working right now, like Fortnite is working, Call of Duty, Warzone is working, and still Warzone, Fortnite are going downhill right now. That's the thing, guys. No one is able to make like a really good game right now, and everyone is trying to get into it. By the way, I'm not saying they should stop making online games, but they should do their research before creating them and make a single good online game than multiple which just don't work. Meanwhile, they can focus primarily in writing good stories, improving the graphics, gameplay, etc. So I think that's it for this video, and I wanted to make this video for a very long time. If you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. I'll see you in the next one.